Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bettina and I'm the makeup enthusiast. In today's video, I am starting my Pan Those Eyeshadows for 2023. I'm very excited to get this project started. You guys know I did very well on hitting my goal last year in my Pan Those Eyeshadows. I love panning eyeshadows. I find it really fun and really challenging at the same time. So I'm very excited to get the ball rolling. If you are new around here, before we get into the update, I hope you would consider subscribing down below so you can keep up to date on all my Pan Those Eyeshadows updates this year and any of my other project pants that I am participating in this year. And without further ado, let's jump on into the Pan Those Eyeshadows. I'm very excited for this year. This year, I am doing things a little bit differently. Last year, I think I focused on 6 shadows at a time and I rouletted them from my collection and I just went about rotating them through that way. This year I'm going to do things slightly differently because I have a goal of wanting to have a pan in every palette. So I think if I do it this way, I can help achieve my pan in every palette goal a lot quicker than what I originally thought that I would do, if that makes any sense. So this year I'm going to actually participate along with Makeup with Laney, who has set up a prompt list or a list of 100 prompts to correspond to eyeshadows in your collection. So I'm going to pull up the spreadsheet of 100 prompts. I'm going to randomly generate 5 of those prompts. And then from those 5 prompts, I'm going to go hunting in my collection to find shadows to match those prompts. I'll bring that up and let's get into it. I will say there is one prompt I've kind of had a little bit of a quick look through the list. There's one prompt on the list being number 1, which I am tempted to roll in right now and get the ball rolling with it because I think it's going to be a challenge for me to do. And I'm worried that I'm going to end up rolling in that prompt in October or November and I'm going to be doomed to fail. So I think for now, right from get-go, I'm going to handpick one prompt just because I want to set myself up for success with this particular prompt. Prompt number 1 is a black shadow. So I want to get the ball rolling on that one now because I know that the black shadow will take me ages to hit pan on. So I'm going to start off right from get-go with prompt number 1. And then I'm going to roulette the other 4. Ordinarily, I would do 6 shadows because normally I focus on 6 shadows at a time. But I am doing Project Level Up this year, which means I'll have a palette in that project as well. So because I have a palette in that project, I'm going to reduce the number of shadows in this project down to 5. So that means it'll be 5 in this project, 1 whole palette in the Project Level Up, as well as 1 shadow in that palette that I need to hit pan on. So just to make things a little bit more easier on myself. So let's get the ball rolling. Let's clear my history. So I want 5. So let's start. We have number 63. Then we have number 50. That's 3. 21. And last but not least is number 9. Number 9 is oldest shadow. Number 50 is shadow from your palette with the most pans. Number 21 is shadow from your favorite palette. And last but not least is number 63 is a shadow that starts with the letter L. I'm going to go hunting in my collection and find the shadows that match those 5 prompts and I will be back. That was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I feel like maybe I might abandon this because that was far too hard. At some point, maybe this year, I might just abandon this and go back to my old way of doing Project Pan. But I do have my 5 palettes here. So let's start off at the top. We have my black shadow. Now, I am doing something that I probably wouldn't normally do. I am bringing in a brand new palette because I did get the Natasha Denona My Dream palette for Christmas. Because I haven't had much of an opportunity to use this, I thought that I would rotate it in for my black shadow. I'm going to rotate in this one up in the corner here. It's aptly titled Blackest Black. I'm trusting Natasha Denona here that this is a good black. Haven't really had a chance to use this one yet, but I just thought because I haven't really had a chance to play with this one all that much, I thought if I rotated it in and had it in like my everyday makeup drawer, I would reach for it more and get more use out of it, given that it's like a brand new palette in my collection. So rotating this one in for the blackest black. It's going to be weird to have like a pan in the newest palette in my collection, but I'm happy to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm committing to it. We're going to go for it. Next up is prompt number 9, being oldest shadow. Now, I couldn't quite remember whether this palette is the oldest palette in my collection or whether it was one of my Urban Decay palettes. I have a feeling it's this one, but in any event, my Urban Decay 1, 2, and 3 all have at least one pan in them. So I grabbed this palette out because it doesn't have a pan. This is the Balm Nude Tude palette. We have no pans in this palette. I don't exactly know which pan I'm going to focus on in this palette. I'm thinking maybe one of these 3 or Sexy. I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to go with Sultry, the color Sultry here. I think that this is a good one that I can use quite regularly. I can wear like every day and I can get away with like using it more regularly. And I think that it's something that I'll be able to hit pan on a lot easier than any of like the other colors in the palette. So Sultry is coming in for that one. Next up we have prompt number 21, and that's a shadow from my favorite palette. I grabbed out this palette. I guess this is my favorite for like 2 reasons. One, because the packaging is absolutely adorable. This is the Empty Magnetic palette from Menagerie Cosmetics. But 2, this is my favorite palette because it houses all my beautiful, glorious Cleona Multichrome Stained Glass collection. So I'm gonna just roulette a shadow from this palette to work on. I do have 17 shadows in this palette. I'm gonna roulette a shade. So we have 1 to 17, and let's go for number 9. Let's go counting like from the bottom up, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, she's a pretty one. Actually, I really like using this one. I don't know what this one's called, but that's it there. She's pretty. This one is Heiress from, does it say Heiress from the Hybrid Multichrome collection? I probably could use this as a bit of a topper or use it on itself, use it by itself, or I could use it with like glitter glue to get like super impact. Next is prompt number 50, and that's a shadow from my palette with the most pans. I grabbed out my Empty Magnetic Z palette. This is the one that contains all my Makeup Geek shadows. And again, I think I'm just going to roulette from this palette, but obviously there's a lot of pans that we have to avoid, so it might take a few. So 27 shadows in this palette. Let's randomize and see what we get. We have number 17. So we'll start from the top. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17. Okay, so that's this one here, which, is this one Shimmer Shimmer? I don't think this one's Shimmer Shimmer, which is called Whimsical. And so it's like a pinky shimmery color. So Whimsical. And then last but not least is a shadow that starts with the letter L. For that one, I grabbed out my Kristen Leanne palette with Urban Decay. This is the, I think it was called the it's Kaleidoscope Dream palette. Now there's actually 3 pans in this palette that start with the letter L. I think to assist me picking out which one I'm going to focus on, I might swatch the other shadows and we can go from there. Just because I identified one that I wanted to focus on, but it's actually a little bit similar to this one that I just rouletted from my Makeup Geek palette. That's those 3 there. So in the Kaleidoscope palette, there's the color Lime Time. There's Leo, which is the bluer side of the split pan. And then there's also LCW, which is this one. I was originally going to pick Leo, which is the like iridescent blue shade, but I think it's probably a little bit too similar to that one that I rouletted from my Makeup Geek palette. So I think I'm going to throw myself a curveball and rotate in the color Lime Time, which is the lime green, by name by color, just to give myself a little bit of a challenge. So, and just so we have like a bright color in there as well. So that's the 5 shades that I will be working on. I will, yes, that's the 5 shades I'm going to be working on. And then I also will have my project Level Up. As I said, I'm working from a prompt list. It's by Makeup with Laney. I will leave her linked down below, as well as, I don't think she's done her intro for 2023 just yet. If it's up by the time this video goes live, I will also leave that linked down below as well. That's my intro for my Pan Those Eyeshadows for 2023. As I said, I'm doing it a little bit differently this year, so I hope you would join me along on this journey. And if you do want to join me along on this journey and you're not already subscribed, make sure you're subscribed down below. Leave me a comment down below. Wish me luck. Let me know how you would wear these shadows together down in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. That's it for this video. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. I'm going to go wash my hands now that I'm covered in makeup swatches, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, beautiful.